Welcome back. Thanks for hitting that play button. We haven't been able to do an update for the last 2 weeks because the studio has been under some construction to keep up with our growth. And for that, we thank you. So let's jump right into it. Last weekend, Alabama took a loss to LSU in overtime. Clemson got routed by Notre Dame. TCU remains undefeated. And the undefeated Georgia Bulldogs let the dogs out and knocked the Vols off their number one pedestal spot. We are heading into Week 11 in college football. Damn, this is getting exciting. Coming out of the SEC, we have teacher versus student weekend. Alabama and Ole Miss are going to grind it out. Nick Saban's Padawan, Lane Kiffin, does have a chance to stick another dagger into Alabama's hopes of making the playoffs. During Nick's midweek presser, he said that Ole Miss has significant players, especially for the Ole Miss play-action pass offense, but Nick really didn't seem too worried during his conference. Here's the link to his press conference. Lane is sitting in his own destiny seat, but as an 11.5-point underdog, Saban will quickly hit that ejection button. Missouri heads into Tennessee as a huge underdog. Tennessee is coming off a huge loss against Georgia last weekend. The only thing head coach Josh Heupel plans on showing the Show Me State team is the door as it hits them in the ass. Georgia heads to Mississippi State as 16.5-point favorites. The only exciting thing to come out of this game will be Mike Leach's post-game loss press conference. Can't wait for those sound bites. By the way, College Game Day will be in Houston, Texas for the TCU versus Texas game this weekend. Speaking of TCU versus Texas, the Big 12 actually has the most intriguing game of the weekend. Number 4 TCU is headed to Austin, Yuppieville, Texas to play number 18 Texas for the ABC's primetime game. TCU enters this game undefeated and as a 7-point underdog. As for playoff implications, TCU has no room for any errors for the rest of the season. They have to win out against what is the toughest remaining football schedule if they want the selection committee to invite them to the playoffs. The Big 12 also has OU playing West Virginia, Iowa State at Oklahoma State. Brent Venables and Mike Gundy continue to struggle in the last stretch of the season. There isn't much on the line for the Okie teams this weekend other than pride. Staying in the Big 12, we also have Kansas State playing Baylor in Waco, which should turn out to be an overall great game. Winner of this game should edge out the other to meet TCU in the Big 12 Conference Championship game at Jerry's World in Dallas. The ACC is keeping their fingers crossed that Clemson wins out the rest of the season because the Pac-12 has a couple teams ready to pounce on the Tiger spotlight. Clemson plays Louisville and Death Valley as 7-point favorites. Louisville won't be a pushover, however, for Clemson. Louisville is a team stacked with veteran players. For the rest of the season, Clemson will be on a sharp ledge that will crumble quickly if they slip. After their loss to Notre Dame and the hell that was unleashed by their fans and media, Dabo had this to say during his midweek press conference. Stop letting the scoreboard define your joy. Here's a link to his presser if you want to watch. A betting man might want to take Clemson covering the spread, though. Okay, still in the ACC. Number 23, Florida State plays Syracuse and is favored by 6.5 points. As we all know, Syracuse started off strong this season but quickly fell and hasn't recovered since the Clemson loss, mostly due to injuries though. But expect the Orange to keep fighting even after 3 straight losses. I'm not sure if I would place a bet on this game. If so, who would you pick? Drop your pick in the comments section below. The Big Ten isn't giving us much excitement to look forward this weekend. Number 2, Ohio State is playing Indiana. Indiana is coming into this game as a 40-point underdog. Number 3, Michigan is playing Nebraska at home and is favored by 29.5 points. It's a lot of points, but I think you got to take Ohio State and Michigan in points because Ohio State is hungry for that number 1 spot. And for now, Michigan is kind of content at number 3 until they play Ohio State later on this month. Now this leaves us with the Pac-12. As usual, the Pac-12 has given us a snooze fest of a weekend. I don't plan on staying up and watching most of the games, but hey, I'm not a Pac-12 fan anyways. But if you are, keep your eye out on Oregon's Heisman hopeful Bo Nix. He knows that he has to have an impressive night against the Huskies to find his name as a top 5 contender for the Heisman. But if you're needing your football fix early, Old Muleshoe and his team is playing Colorado Friday night. Trojan quarterback and Heisman contender Caleb Williams shouldn't have any trouble giving the fans a terrific show against the Buffaloes. All right, this is going to end our 5-minute little quick update for College Football Week 11. If you like what you've seen here, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing. As always, I'll see you on the next one.